What a scorcher! Hello everybody and welcome to the July 2023 update from Clydebridge Station, where as I film this today it is actually 24 degrees here in Fife. My goodness me, I was given the best 2 weeks off when my manager allocated my holidays for me, didn't she? But anyway, this month's update is going to focus on the depot car park area where the signal box and depot office is. We're going to do work on there to improve the look of the car parking area. We're going to put down some new grey board, install new fencing and also improve the vegetation in front. So that's going to be just the main focus for this month's update. As usual, there'll be the usual shout outs to various other layouts and to various other people as well during the video. And of course the two that got me back into model railways several years ago, and that's Richard Warren at Everard Junction and David Watson at Dean Park Station. Both of those you'll find here on YouTube, and you'll find Dean Park Station on Facebook as well, and you'll find Everard Junction on Instagram. So go and check them out, please. There's also one little bit that I've done thanks to Pudham Junction, which I'll show you later on in the video as well. It's not actually related to the layout, but I'll let you see that later on. So if you're all ready for that, all aboard and enjoy the programme. The plan of attack here at the depot area is to basically resurface this using 2mm grey board, or modelling card as it's now called, from Scale Model Scenery. It'll hide this unwieldy join that you can see there, and it doesn't look right. It'll hide that screw, it'll hide practically everything. So what it'll mean is this is going to have to come off temporarily. This will come off temporarily, these cards and that will move. You'll notice I've already moved the fencing and some of the signs, but the new fence will sit something like that there. But what I'll have to do, my initial plan of attack is to try and get this area done here, which will involve soaking this so it can be scraped off, and then putting down a new sheet of modelling card which will be painted black, and then after that I'll take it from there to see where I'm going to go. This concrete base, I'll just move that now, this concrete base is glued down, but that should come up easy enough. There you go, that's come up, and that should be getting put back down anyway, so that's not a major problem at all. I haven't ordered new Keep Clear new lettering, so I'll need to actually get that from Scale Model Scenery, but that's for another time, so there's no mad rush there. Once I get the 2mm grey board down, sorry, 2mm modelling card down, I'll then have an idea of how many more bits of it I'll need. So we'll get all these vehicles moved now, and then I'm going to take this up to a little bit of vegetation just there, but that's not a problem, not a problem at all. Put that down there for a minute. And obviously now that I've got a clean slate for this bit, I can start to remove the other items, and then after that I'll be able to have a look at what exactly I'm needing to do. As I say, the grey board, the modelling card will be sitting in various bits, so various bits are going to have to be cut to size to cope. The concrete base will just sit back there after I've done, and it'll just be glued back onto the new bit of modelling card. And I've also got new fencing, as I say, to put up as well. Right, I'll get everything removed from here and then we'll assess where we're going from there on in. that's everything now removed, and you can see the sort of template that I've got now, or footprint. So I'm reckoning on putting one in something like that, or alternatively putting it like that. Whatever way I do it, I know that I'm going to have to cut extra bits to go here. I'm also acutely aware that it's rather squint at points, so that'll have to be sorted out and addressed as well. If the glue doesn't take it, I'll just have to try and then pin it down. I mean, obviously I'll go back on there. The thickness of this grey board might also mean I'll have to redo this path here. That is a little challenge, but not insurmountable. It might just be a case of putting more gravel down and then painting it grey afterwards, so it's not an insurmountable challenge. We can do it, even if we're not BMQing it. I'm actually just noticing there, I maybe have to scrape a little bit more away to get that on straight there, so I think that's what I'll do next. So maybe not need to put any more gravel down and paint it. So I'll have a challenge with that, but before I do anything else, this will need to get painted. I'm going to use modelling paint. You can get them out like some craft shops or some place like Home Bargains or B&M. I'll paint it black. I'm going to give it 2 coats, and then I'll try and get it repositioned. Speaking of depots, there's a guy on YouTube called Old Oak Trains, and he's got a few videos from Old Oak Common Depot back in the late 80s, early 90s. I'll put the link to one of the videos up there now, and look out for the ex-Scottish Shove Duff 47714. That was the very first ScotRail 47/7 to leave ScotRail back in March 1989. So, right, I'll go and get this sorted, work out what else I'm going to need to try and take away from here, and then get this painted black. Right, that's these first 2 sheets done, and as you can see, that's only the first coat done. And if I hold up there, you can actually still see all the lines in that, so they're definitely going to need at least one more coat. That was the paint I was using for the first coat, but when I was in B&M today at the time of filming, I found this one here. So I'm going to use this for the second coat, and it'll be applied on them as usual. Once I've got one sheet fully dry, I'll take it up and install it into the shed onto the car park, and I'm looking at where buildings will go. I may actually end up giving it a third coat with a lighter colour on it, possibly a little bit of touch of white, mix it together and spread it out, and then possibly have a black patch, like say where there's been possibly something a little pothole that's been resurfaced. So I'm thinking about doing that. So I'll give it a second coat, and it may then need a third coat, would you believe? But it will do it no harm if it gets that third coat and it's a little bit white, and it'll certainly give it a little bit more of a thickness. When I come to actually glue this down, I'll have to actually weigh it down as well, just to make sure it gets a good hold, and I've got plenty of tubs of nails and screws that will act as good weights. So just while I get on with doing the second coat of this, if you're a rail enthusiast and you want to buy a pub, guess where one of the best places to buy a pub is for yourself? Possibly next to a railway? Well, one mate of mine who's not a train enthusiast, Dean Barnes, from Gateshead, who also goes under the pseudonym of DJ Drama, he's a nightclub DJ as well. Him and his partner own a pub called The Railway in Walkergate. It's just opposite the metro station. Link to that's in the description below, so go and check that out. And if you're in the Walkergate area, go into the pub and say hello. I'm sure they'll make you welcome. Right, I'll get on with applying the master strokes to these for the second coat.
This is coming very shortly, but yes, so Sam, yes, we are.
Now, if you can hear me above the Radio 5 Live Sports Extra cricket commentary, this is the third coat that I've put down. I've used some more of this. and I've got added a little bit of that to it, and I've managed to mix this together so it'll dry. And then once one of these is dried, and on this such a warm day, one of these will dry very quickly, I'll then put it into position, and I'll be able to check out if we can how much I'm going to need to take off to get it to fit in. And then I'll start to work out where things have got to get positioned as well in terms of buildings. And then this will be the next one. The same treatment will go to that, but I'll keep the offcuts because I may well need them elsewhere on the car park scene. So we're going to let that dry for a little bit. The next bit you'll see will be off them in, at least one of them on the layout, getting ready to get positioned and then glued down and weighed down as well. And while they're drying, and I know you don't like to see paint dry, check out Douglas Central here on YouTube and Twitter. He's set in the West Midlands PT Central area, and also check out West Blyth MPD set in the north east of England. And also check out northumberlandline.uk. This is a project that will see rail services, passenger rail services, return to Blyth, Newbiggin and Ashington, and that's hoping to be done by summer 2024, so give that website a check out as well. Fascinating story that's going to be. So we've got the first two bits of the car park surface down. Notice that I've took up as well all the vegetation that was here. What I'm going to do is, I've got some scale model scenery concrete stripping, and what I'm going to do is put it along here, and this will then sit actually on top of it, and in the future I'll order a couple of picnic benches from scale model scenery and sit them there. So it's a sort of area where staff can have their lunch, you see, or have something to eat. But this will get taken back up the now. Just put that back there. The other thing that I'll be doing is, you see this gap here. That gap is going to remain because later on in the year I'm going to be redoing this whole depot area, and it'll see, for instance, this coming up and getting replaced with proper railway depot fencing from West Hill Wagon Works. So that's going to come up the now, but it's not going to waste because I'll be able to use some of that in here in the depot car park area. I know I've got some already, but I can actually do an even better job and have it going along all the car parking spaces, and then put the fence in after that. But I really need to actually get something done here with this gravel, so that's going to be my next task. Get the gravel down in there and some vegetation, probably more like vegetation I would suspect, and then I'll let that dry for about 24 hours before I come back to it. And with it being quite warm, it will dry quite quickly. The other thing to mention to you, you might not be aware of just yet, but I've noticed that here's obviously I've still got to get the strips to go in here. Now luckily I've kept the strips that are cut off here. One will go in there, one will go, one or two will have to go in there. And now you also notice I've took out the light that was there, because what I've got is, I'm going to be using these on the street scene when I come to redo the roads on that, to make the roads look a lot better than what they are. And that one will get put in there, but it's got to be painted grey, and then this bit's got to be done in orange. So that's going to be for later on, a hole drilled just there, and then more vegetation around it. I need to just get these other two bits on first before I then tackle putting some more vegetation down, and then we'll leave that for 24 hours. But just to say to you, I'll probably... Well, before I put the vegetation down, what I've done here is I've made up the little parking spot area for here, and you can see a van will fit in that comfortably, as will a car. And I've put the extra strip at the back here, and what I'll need to do is put some bushes round here to hide that bit there. That'll be done next, and then after that's done, I'll get the barrier in and the white lines done. So I reckon you'll get 2 vehicles there. If I try and put the 3 vehicles there, it's going to be a right push, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it at the 2 vehicle space there as it was previously. What I need to do though, as I say, is I'm going to let this all dry for 24 hours, the glue, and then I'll put down the vegetation tomorrow in here, which will then get glued down, and that'll dry for a couple of days. While that's drying, I could be working out where I'm going to put the concrete strip that's to go along here. That's what this tends to do, weigh all this down. Now, another layout I want you to check out, and it's one that you already know, and that's New Junction. And that's Richard down there at New Junction. He's now involved these days with a Cura scale, as Richard Watson used to be on the Hornby magazine staff. And speaking of junctions, Barnabas Junction, run by Jason Griffiths. If you like direct rail services, then Barnabas Junction is for you, so if you check them out, please. Yes, I'm not going to do the vegetation first, I'm going to install the fence first, but I've noticed a little thing here that I'll need to sort. It's coming out from there, it goes like that, so that can't be right. But these buildings here are sort of in the right positions, and the fence is going to go up to here and round, and then there'll be a gate here, and the fence will go along this way. But I need to cut this out first, and then we'll get on with building the fence, and then we'll get on with getting some of the structures sorted out afterwards. And it's the same fence as this, and it'll be given a couple of coats. Also, whilst I'm on the matter of fences, the fence along here will get done right towards the very end, because obviously I need to do work in here first and work out everything else before I can get the fence done. But I'll cut this bit off first, and then we'll look at how to build the fence. Right, this is the fencing here. And I'll be honest with you, as I film this right now, I'm going to have to order more from SMS. I'm not going to have enough to do the whole area, but a lot of it is going to have to be fenced off anyway. But this first section is going to go parallel to where the signal box will be. And then the other sections will have to be made up. And what you do is you've got fence posts that are visible there, and need rails and attached to the panels as well. So you've got part C, which if you look at your sheet is this bit here, that's for your posts, and then you've got the rails, which are B. We've also got a palisade gate as well, and I've actually ordered gates, but I might not need them for that bit of the depot, but I might use them somewhere else later on when I've got extra fencing. Part C, which is the posts, goes down here, and part B, the rails, goes along here. I'll get this first bit done, and then I'll get it sprayed and primed and leave that to dry. And whilst that's drying, go and check out a very popular layout here on YouTube, Cheeky Tech. If you go and check him out, please, here on YouTube, Cheeky Tech. That's this bit now dried. That was just Halford's grey primer I've used on that. I found another small off-cut section that I'm going to use. Imagine that's like that. I've got another bit going along there to go past the signal box, and then I'll install a gate there afterwards. So that's what I've done there. So the fence is partly bent, and you can see there's a bit bent out there. It's actually good because it makes it look a little bit more realistic. I'll get that stuck on, and I'll get the other bit stuck on, and then I'll do the fence that's going to go up this way a bit, and then what I'll do is show you the road lines and what we're going to do with those. That's those first two bits of fencing in position, and I'll show you them shortly. We're going to get onto this now, and it is the LX09200 Palisade security gates. And by the way, I'll leave the descriptions for the products I've used in the links to the products I've used in the description below in the video. Builds 4 pairs of small gates and 2 pairs of large gates, and what we're going to do is make a pair of small gates now, which are going to be used in between the signal box and the depot office to replace the older ones. And then I'll be able to make a second gate that will go at the depot entrance. These larger ones are going to get used for another project down at the other end of the depot near the fuel tank later on. That's for another day, however. But we'll get these ones built up first, and they're all built in a very similar way. You have 2 runners that go along the top, 2 bits that go down the side, and then you've got a gate handle, and you also have your gate posts as well, which are down here. Pretty straightforward. I won't go into the full details of it, but I'll carry on and we'll get that done. Couple of shout outs. Let's have a check out with Honest Jones. He's on Instagram and here on YouTube. London based singer. His most recent tune is No Dignity, and I'll put it up there for you so you can enjoy that. And also check out my mate in Malton in North Yorkshire, the home of Yorkshire Coastliner buses, Ryan Swain. He's on Instagram and here on YouTube, and again, check him out. I'll put the link to his channel in the description below. The 2 gates for here are actually painted, and they're drying at the moment, but you'll notice here I've took this gate off. I'm going to tell you why. In that Palisade gate kit there's some long gates, quite wider gates, and I'm going to use one here and one at the other side, so it'll make it more realistic for vehicles going in and out. It'll be a lot wider, you see. And the gate that I've took off there, I'm going to put in here with a post, and that'll complete that section there. And what I'll then be able to do is work out exactly where I'm going to need to put this other bit of fence using the 2 wide gates, something about there. So at least then this there'll be more realistic gates there. Whilst I'm here, before I go out and get the rest of that done and show you it all, do check out my friends at Wrangler, www.wrangler.co.uk or www.wrangler.com, and it'll take you to the official Wrangler site in your territory. We make the coolest clothes around. I'm a proud ambassador for the brand. This is a concrete strip that I was talking about. That's that now in position, and eventually there'll be a couple of picnic tables there for the staff, and there'll be a bit of fence here and a little bit of fence there to protect them from the car park. 2 gates in position. What I've got to do here is glue down these bushes and tuff that you see there to give it the look of these gates. These open out the way, but it's like they don't get used much, and so the vegetation's just grown over. That's that gate in position there. Admittedly not very well, but it's in position. I'll put the rest of the vegetation in here after I've got the bit fence up, but you can actually see here that I've got a second crash barrier in place. Now remember, these are coming from the existing depot area, because I'm going to be using the West Hill Wagon Works barriers for the rest of the depot area. I'm going to start doing that at some point in the future. So I've got to get the fence along there and then the vegetation in on a white line to to signify 2 parking spaces. Obviously I'll need to get some more people in here too, because it looked a bit bare without people. But that'll be my next task, is to get the fence in here, get some more vegetation in there and glue it down. And I haven't forgotten about this bit here as well. I've got a light to put in there and that'll be getting dealt with as well. But it is looking a bit better now, and I've done away with those awkward steps that I had here. They are actually gone now, it's all smooth. And this 2mm thick grey board will actually be ideal for when I come to do this bit here, I would imagine, as well. But that's well into the future. For this video we're concentrating on here. I'm just waiting on the fence drying, and what I've done here is I've put a white line down to create 2 parking areas, although one's wider than the other. But I've got 2 parking bays there, and we've got the crash barriers all round here. My next task is obviously to get the fence in here and get the vegetation done. I've ordered more fences. I've filmed this from Scale Model Scenery, and I've also ordered a couple of picnic tables for over here, which actually happen to come with brollies, would you believe? So we'll get that done, and I've got that bit barrier that I'll start to put in there, but it'll come a bit forward so the fence can go in there, and then I'll be able to start working out where I need to put the lines for the cars. So it's all coming together. The first sections of fence are actually sprayed, they're getting left to dry, and then I'll start to install them, put more vegetation in here, and then we'll get it all glued down. And I'll also glue down this bit here, which you can just see that there. And I'll also get the light in there, put vegetation around that, and get that all glued down too. It is starting to come together now. If you can hear me above the cricket, that's the Ashes, by the way, on Radio 5 Live Sports Extra. This is me making the concrete area that the security booth is going to go on. That's going to be the width of it, that bit of fence at the front, and behind it there'll be a little security office, and I may have to actually make this larger than what it is. I'll see that in a few minutes. But as I say, I'm going to cover this in concrete. I've got concrete sheeting, and I've got this curbstone which will sit around about like that. That's got to get sprayed grey, and then we'll get it round the other edges. Now obviously if the booth itself might not be as big as that space, but at least what I will have is a simulation ready for it already. I'm also going to try and make a second one that's a bit longer, that's 6 curbstones longer rather than 5, just to see what that's like as well. Here we've got the bit of 2mm modelling card cut, and what I'll do is Johnny Bairstow just made a half century, by the way, if you're wondering what the cheer is about. So there we go. That'll get glued on like that. Let that dry. I'll be using Yoo-Hoo glue. Cut the corners, fold those bits over, and we'll let that dry for a few minutes. I've got the first piece of kerb already laid down at the depot entrance. That'll allow me to judge that neatly, and then I'll get the other 2 bits of kerb in. So we're actually getting really on now with the depot area. It's really beginning to look very well, so I'm quite happy how it's going so far. Obviously there's still some bits to get done, but the entrance area to the depot car park is starting to look the part now. Go and check out Brian at Finnerton Central and Craig at New Durham Junction. Both of them you'll find here on YouTube and also on Facebook as well, so check those 2 out please. I'll get this glued down now, and that's what I'm using, Yoo-Hoo glue. I'll glue it down, stick it on, and we'll give that a few minutes. That's the gate up, and what I've done is, so that it looks correct and it doesn't fall off, I've left one gate partly open, the other one fully opened. That's the fence in there. There'll be a bit come down here, and then I'll have to create a bit for here that will then go right along there. Didn't measure this quite right, but look, it's done now anyway. And the fence will have a wee bit here, and it'll drop down and run along here. And it'll stop probably about here to allow the walkway that would take you down here. There'll be a fence in here with the gate as well. That gate will be installed, by the way, once I get the next section of fencing, which will be sometime next week or so as I film this. Crash barrier installed, and that's been recycled from here because the West Hill Wagon Works fencing will be going on here instead when I come to do the new depot surface, and I'll be starting that later this year. The sign is ready, but I just need to glue it on. It'll sit probably about there, but that'll be glued on another day. And I've also went and put the scatter material, glued the scatter material down. So you can see that there. It's starting to dry in quite quickly already, but again that's going to be left for a few days now to properly dry. And then I've got the white lines to add, and a bit of crash barrier to put in here, and a small bit here. It might well be that I leave the see that there, but I could easily leave a gap there, you see, and have the crash barrier going up there, and maybe a cycle rack or something in there, small cycle rack, so I could have room for, say, maybe 5 cars, and then there'd be more parked in here. Also, I'll get that done. I've got some white lines that I can use on here. So it works. There we go. Next task, for me anyway, is to wait until more stuff arrives, and then we'll start getting the white lines put down. That's me installed the British Rail Traction Maintenance Depot sign again, and I've super glued it onto the concrete there. For behind here, I've got the scale model scenery gatehouse to build. However, I'm going to leave that and do that in the August update, because there's also quite a lot I've done here in the July update. The remaining stuff I've got to do is to extend this fence along the back. I've got white lines to put down to make the parking areas. Got something surprising for here though, which we're going to do now. We build picnic benches. These are from Scale Model Scenery, Lima X-Ray 028, Oscar Oscar. You get a pack of 6 and they do come with the parasol. It might seem a bit strange that I'm actually using picnic benches here for the staff, but I have actually seen an induction video on YouTube for Television South, TVS, who were, at the time this layout set in 1990, they were the franchise holder for the South and South East England ITV area. And the induction video, which I think dates from 1984, shows you some staff enjoying some food outside at picnic benches. So that's what I've decided to do. I'll build one and I'll see if I've got enough room to put a second one in. It might be a case at some point in the future, or maybe when I come to redo this bit, I'll put another picnic bench here. But I'll definitely be putting one there. What I'll do is I'll get it opened up and we'll have a look at it and we'll see what there is, and get underway and tell you what you need to build it. Right, here's the kit that we've got for you. Now you notice you get the brollies with it, and these ones you can actually colour with a felt tip pen if you want to, but I'm going to do it with these. I'll make a brolly with one of those ones, and if I get it wrong, I'll be a wally with a brolly. Yes, it's a bad joke, I'll go and get my coat. But anyway, on a serious note, parts kit on the right hand side, you'll need to laser cut kit glue as well. Cut out parts A, B and C, and what you then do is you glue parts B and C to one side of one of these, part A, turn the bench side over, cut out 2 parts of part D, and you glue them to the other side to make your uprights. And then obviously what will happen is that you'll then cut out the bench top, which is part E and F, and then you'll glue them together. I'm going to have to do this off camera, so I'll get those done and then we'll take a look at how it is afterwards, and hopefully I am not a wally with a brolly. That's it starting to come together right now. For some reason, when I actually cut those bits out, the legs, part A, they sort of remind me of the Tyne Tees television logo from 1970 to 1992 in various guises. The TTTV joined up lettering. I'll explain a bit more about that though at the end of the video while I mention them. As you'll see here, I've joined together the bit that makes the actual table itself. And I'm going to give you a little tip. If I bring that right up there, you can see the little hole there. What to do is when you're making one of these benches, get a bit of the wire that's supplied and put it through the bottom part, and then put glue on the top, the underside of the top part, and then put it onto the wire and thread it down, and then get it straight that way. And then you have it there. That way, when you come to put the brolly through the hole will be in the right position. It's a little, it doesn't say that in the instructions there, but it's a little tip that I'll give you. If you do that, you'll find coming to put the brolly in with the wire will be a lot easier. I'm going to crack on and attach the legs, and then I've got to get parts G, which are these here, and they go on the glue into place on the underside of the bench to support the bench ends. And then we cut out the 2 seats, which is part H, and then we finish off with part I, which has a hole. It actually goes on the underside of the bench, and it has, it has a hole in it. So there, my tip again would be when you come to put part I in, put this back through the wire and then thread part I onto it, and that way everything will be lined up perfectly. Right, I'll go crack on and get the rest of this done. There we are, as Easy Life might have said, life's a bench. You'll notice that I've put one parasol higher than the other, and that's simply because I could show that a parasol likely being extended, so it's this one here. And I've just chosen random colours here, blue and black. I mean, I could have made them any colour, but I've went for the pre-made ones. Now, they're going to just move a little bit. One there. And one there. There we go. Because obviously I'm going to put a fence along here with a gate, and a bit of fence along here, and that'll be afterwards. By the way, give yourself about 90 minutes to make 2 of those benches. That's how long it's taken me to make those 2 benches. You need to take your time with it. And whilst I'm here, I've got a bit of thistle around the sign at the depot entrance as well, round at around the post area, so make it look a little bit unkempt. I've put a car in position because that'll be my next task. Put white lines in here so we can get a small car parking area. So I'll get those white lines down next, and then to finish off this month's update I'll just be getting the fence put into position. And by the way, go and check out the pop band from Leicester, Easy Life. They are on YouTube, Twitter and Instagram, so if you check them out please. That's the road lines in place. They're 5.5 centimetres long, and we've put 2 cars in here, a Mark 1 Escort and a pensionable British Leyland relic, an Austin Maestro. And I've got a crash barrier going at that side. I won't put one at this side because if I did, the space would be just too narrow. I've still got to put a bit of fence in there, down and all the way along to here. and a bit of fence up to here. But what I've decided is I'm going to end this for now. There's still things that I do need to do on the depot area here. I need to put in some more of these P&D Marsh model street lights, like this one here, painted. They would go here, here, and probably here. But that's going to be for another day, as well as some keep clear lettering and holes for the drains. And in addition to excuse me, and in addition to all of that, we've got the gatehouse that has to go here. But that's all going to be stuff that will be done in a future update. I had planned to do it for the August update, but thanks to the delivery of some items that I've ordered from Scale Model Scenery, and also thanks to inspiration from a bus advert that I saw in Whitley Bay in 1991, and the HTV adverts that used to adorn Paddington Station in the 70s and 80s, next month's update is actually going to concern ourselves with redoing platforms 3 and 4, getting them resurfaced, gluing down these with super glue, and installing a new trolley bay here, so the platforms are a lot smoother and a lot glossier. And it'll also involve something else going on here, and that's namely an advertising hoarding, and I've been working on that in my house on my laptop, because one of the things I've ordered from Scale Model Scenery for next month's update is going to be a set of 2 billboards, and they'll actually come supplied with adverts. But I've actually designed my own one, and I need to get it down to the right size, 8 centimetres by 4 centimetres, so it'll fit in. And it's got a... And all I'm going to just say to you right now is, think Tyne Tees Television and think HTV at Paddington. And that's all I'm going to say at the moment. So that's what's going to come up on next month's update. And if you look very carefully down there, you'll think to yourself, has Robert bought another Class 47? I have, and you'll find out about that next month, because it's appropriate as well to the North East theme that we'll have for part of next month's update. And I'll actually talk you through how I built one of these as well. We'll talk you through the billboard adverts and talk you through what I'd have to do to here, how to get it to the right size. And if we do have time, we'll get the gatehouse built as well, and the fencing will get done another day. However, the next video you're going to see on this YouTube channel is actually going to be on the 15th of July, when I'll be up at the Cooper Model Railway Show, which is taking place that weekend at the Corn Exchange in St Catherine Street in Cooper. So if you happen to be in the Cooper area, or indeed in the Fife area at all, and you've got a free day either of those 2 days, the 15th or 16th, pop along to the Cooper Model Railway Show. They'll be glad of your support. And if you also happen to be there on the 15th and you see me, come over and say hello. I'll be delighted to meet you. So that's what's happening in the next couple of weeks on this YouTube channel. And after the Cooper Model Railway Show video, I shall then see you the following month, when we'll be hopefully well on our way to getting up platforms 3 and 4 done. All that remains for me to do now is to say thank you very much indeed for watching this month's update, and look forward to your company next month. Please, whatever you're doing, do take care of yourselves, won't you, and enjoy your layouts, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.